welcome back to our channel. Here, we embark on a journey through the complex labyrinth of relationships, providing insights and guidance along the way. The day had been draped in rain since morning, casting a veil of melancholy over the city's inhabitants. Skylar opted to skip her college class, lingering at a cafe instead, anticipating her friend who seemed to lack any urgency in meeting her. This particular cafe had become her refuge from studies, a place where she'd retreat to avoid her academic responsibilities. Her parents resided on the opposite end of the town, making it highly unlikely to encounter them there. Her mother found occupation in an art gallery downtown, while her father worked as an accountant. A freshman in college, Skylar held a strong disdain for her academic pursuits. Her true aspirations rested in becoming a manicurist or a hairdresser. Yet, her parents insisted on her studying business. Glancing at her watch, Skylar eventually made the decision to cease her wait for her friend. With her coffee paid for, she was on the verge of departure when a painfully familiar voice reached her ears from behind. Turning discreetly, she witnessed a couple, a middle-aged man earnestly captivating a fair-haired blonde. His actions were intimate, guiding her to a seat while draping his arm over her shoulders, even bestowing a kiss on her neck. The shock of the scene left Skylar immobile, questioning its authenticity. She wondered if it was a figment of her imagination, but it was all too real. Her father, accompanied by a young blonde woman, occupied the neighboring table. Laughter tainted with a hint of malice escaped the blonde woman's lips, followed by extravagant orders of food and wine. Suppressing the urge to immediately inform her mother about this shocking revelation, Skylar chose to observe the unfolding situation. An hour later, the blonde and her father departed. Skylar, too, headed for the exit. Through the window, she glimpsed her father embracing the blonde in a passionate kiss before driving away, leaving the mistress to disappear around a corner. Seized by the moment, Skylar stealthily pursued the woman, shrouding herself behind billboards and pretending to stroll in the opposite direction. Fortunately, the distance was short. The blonde entered a nearby beauty parlor and took shelter inside. Through the expansive windows, Skylar witnessed the transformation of her father's mistress into a uniform-clad worker, tending to a client's manicure. It was at this juncture that Skylar realized the blonde worked at this very establishment, igniting a crafty scheme within her mind. Without hesitation, she dialed the salon's advertised number. She provided a description of the blonde and reserved an appointment for nail extensions, subsequently learning that her name was Gabriella. In a matter of days, Skylar was slated to visit her father's mistress for a manicure. The emotional whirlwind experienced by a daughter discovering her father's betrayal of her beloved mother is hard to articulate. Throughout this period, she deliberately avoided any encounter with him, as his mere presence served as a stark reminder of the cafe scene. Skylar distanced herself from her father, striving to comprehend the motives behind his actions. Her parents had epitomized the ideal relationship in her eyes, and the notion that someone could fracture her family's felicity was inconceivable. The mere contemplation of her mother being devastated by her father's infidelity weighed heavily on her heart, given her profound affection for her mother. Skylar was dreamed by a desire to first fathom who Gabriella truly was. Only then would she determine whether divulging this secret to her mother was appropriate, and how to proceed thereafter. As the appointed time arrived, Skylar entered the beauty salon. While Gabriella attended to her nails and chatted about jewelry, Skylar observed her with an unhidden intrigue, endeavoring to unravel the allure that had captivated her father. Luckily, the stroll wasn't particularly lengthy. The blonde made her way into the closest beauty parlor and took refuge within. Skylar, positioned by the expansive windows, had a clear view of her father's mistress transitioning into her work attire and subsequently starting a manicure for a client. At this juncture, Skylar had a realization: Gabriella was an employee here. A crafty plan started to take shape within her mind. Without hesitation, she promptly dialed the salon's number from the advertisement. Artfully describing the blonde's appearance, Skylar booked an appointment for nail extensions, discovering in the process that her name was Gabriella. In a matter of days, Skylar's itinerary included a visit to her father's mistress for a manicure. Describing the feelings of a daughter unearthing her father's betrayal toward her beloved mother is a challenging task. Throughout this period, the daughter purposefully avoided her father, as even a fleeting glimpse would conjure the cafe scene vividly in her mind. Skylar distanced herself from her father, striving to decipher the motivations behind his actions. Her parents had stood as role models across all spheres of life. The idea that someone could shatter her family's bliss seemed unfathomable. The mere contemplation of her mother being crushed under the weight of her father's infidelity was heart-wrenching, given Skylar's deep affection for her mother. The urge to comprehend Gabriella's character initially took precedence. Only after this understanding was gleaned would Skylar decide whether to disclose the truth to her mother, and how to proceed afterward. Aligned with the appointed time, Skylar arrived at the beauty salon. As Gabriella tended to her nails and engaged in conversations about jewelry, Skylar observed with unmasked curiosity, endeavoring to fathom the allure that had captivated her father. In time, Skylar realized why her father had perpetuated this deception for so long, leading to a genuine sense of compassion for Gabriella, who had been immersed in love for her father. Yet, Skylar's heart ached more profoundly for her mother, as her parents had been united in marriage for 2 decades, and she held deep affection for her father. Her upcoming birthday served as a backdrop, a celebration intended to gather friends and family. Among the invitees was Gabriella, who initially declined, almost as if she intuited something amiss. Skylar used persuasion, crafting a lie that her parents had long wished to meet their daughter's new friend. On the day of the celebration, Skylar intentionally placed photographs of her parents in conspicuous spots across all rooms. Her intent was to have the rooms resonate with her parents' love for each other. But Skylar's efforts extended beyond this. As Gabriella arrived, Skylar expertly orchestrated an introduction between her and her parents, catching her father at the moment he was assisting her mother with preparations for the Christmas table. His restrained excitement betrayed by a throbbing vein in his neck. In a subdued voice, he nearly choked out his own name and introduced himself to Gabriella. At this instant, he loosened his shirt collar and clung to the table to steady himself. But eventually, his composure crumbled, and he left the room, endeavoring to mask his trepidation and embarrassment. Skylar locked eyes with Gabriella, refusing to break the connection. Gabriella's countenance remained curiously unaffected, almost indifferent. The poise with which she carried herself was remarkable, considering the circumstances. Skylar, however, wasn't about to let her father's mistress off the hook. She persisted in engaging her, casually sharing details about the delightful moments they were all enjoying during the family celebration. She recounted the numerous gifts her father had bestowed upon her mother. Following this, Skylar guided Gabriella on a tour of their expansive residence, showcasing images of the joyous couple that adorned each room. With meticulous detail, Skylar recounted the stories behind every photograph. A growing tension marked Gabriella's expression, hinting at her escalating agitation. For the remainder of the evening, Gabriella maintained a grave countenance. Though Skylar's father and Gabriella crossed paths a couple of times during the event, both adeptly feigned ignorance. As the dancing segment commenced, Skylar promptly urged her father to invite her mother to partake in their favorite dance, the tango, the very dance that had brought her parents together when they first visited the club years ago to learn its steps. During the tango, Gabriella's breaking point arrived. Placing a glass of champagne on the table, she muttered something about feeling unwell and hastily headed for the exit. This marked the conclusion of Gabriella's presence. She altered her phone number and secured a new occupation. Before long, she found companionship with another man. Thus, the daughter adroitly shielded her mother from the anguish of betrayal. However, the longevity of this protection remains uncertain. Beloved companions, I hope you have found comfort in this story. May your days be filled with joy. If you found this story captivating, please consider clicking the subscribe button and activating the notification bell to ensure you never miss another enchanting tale. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you.